Hi, I'm Peggy at Headshots by Peggy, and today we have Patrick Russell Burton with us. This is the second time you've come on, so I know it's going to be a great vlog.
Oh, and it's the second time today.
It's the second time. I wasn't going to tell.
Oh. I thought we were being real on
We
this
are
show.
being real. We are being real. So we trusted Patrick's girlfriend. Come say hi. We had a little camera difficulty. We'll just say that. But we're back, and we're going to give you a whole new, fresh show with the cameras running this time.
I didn't do that in the first take.
You
so
didn't.
It's already
It's a little
better than the
extra.
last
It's
one.
already. This is going to be a good one.
I can feel it.
Yeah. So Patrick, if you didn't watch the first time he was on, when was that? Like a year ago? I feel like it was a little over a year ago. It's been a while.
I think it was a little over a year ago.
Yeah, I think so, because I think it was like February-ish. I think we were both having birthdays. It feels like we were. I don't know.
Baby face.
Anyway.
No gray hairs.
Yeah.
Now look at me. Okay. I've already had like this much coffee. That's why I'm firing off the jokes.
You're ready to go? You're ready to go?
Yeah.
All right, guys. All right, so Patrick, in case you didn't watch it whenever he was on before, he is an actor, filmmaker, video guy, editor,
Yeah.
writer.
Yep.
What don't you do?
I know. I would keep going.
Yeah, I've actually seen you do some headshots. Don't go to him, though.
No, I'm terrible.
Um,
This is a go.
I'm kidding. He is a great photographer. But don't go to him. Video needs, he'll hook you up. So,
This is my turf. I got you.
yeah. So, no, but seriously, I want you to tell them how this all started, because you started off wanting to be an actor.
Yes, yeah, I did. So my freshman year of college, I was still dead set on being a famous actor.
Yeah.
My mom bought me a video camera just to see what I would do with it. And so I decided I had a lot of free time because I was a terrible student. And I recruited all of my dorm mates to be in a TV show with me, a mockumentary. It was called Home Sweet Home, and the suite was spelled S-U-I-T-E. And it was about dorm life.
Oh, cool.
And I played the lead character, of course, who was everything an RA shouldn't be. He was an RA who was everything an RA shouldn't be.
Yeah.
It was a very Michael Scott sort of character. It was very heavily influenced by The Office, which I actually didn't watch that much at that time. Anyways, that's not important. But I did that. The show was a success. It got picked up by the college TV station, and I learned that I actually loved working behind the camera as much as I loved being in front of it. And so, so the second half of that story is that actually I was after the show got picked up, I was recruited to be a part of the college TV network, and I was very quickly promoted to be station manager because of my passion for creating content.
Wow.
And,
That's cool.
Yeah, so it's just sort of snowballed from then on. It was never my intention to get into video production, but I sort of fell into it and fell in love with it.
Yeah, I mean, the thing is if you get out there and do stuff, like there's jobs that exist that you don't even know exist.
Mm-hmm.
I went on set a few times and did, behind the scenes stuff. And then I'm like, what is that person doing? That's a job. I guess that's a job. I didn't think about it. Of course it's a job. Somebody has to do that. And oh, that's really cool. And yeah, there's somebody that literally scouts sites to shoot at, like a location scout. That's a job.
Yeah.
It's like, this is cool. So not only could you make some extra money and be a more rounded person and learn, but you may actually decide that, you know what, I like this even more, and or you meet people that opens the door for you to get in for your acting or whatever. I mean,
Absolutely.
I feel like as long as you're busy, you're as long as you're going forward, you're not stopping.
Absolutely.
You're moving forward. You're succeeding. If you have a dream and you have a goal and you're doing something towards it, you're succeeding.
Mm-hmm. And the more stuff you do, the more opportunities there are to find something that you love doing. And
Exactly.
it's not just one thing for everybody.
Right. Now, for me, I've had a camera in my hand since I was 9. Like I never wanted to do anything else.
Oh,
If
wow.
you asked me when I was 10, what are you going to do when you grow up? I'd say, I'm going to be a mommy and a photographer. And that's what I did.
Nice.
But I've realized as I grew up that not everybody, including my kids, knew what they were going to do, you know, from a young age. A lot of people, you have to go out and experience things and do things. And, you know, and even though this is my tool of choice, but there's a lot of different things I do with that, you know, not just, you know, portraits, not just headshots, not just, you know, there's different things. So and it just makes you, even if you do something and you hate it, at least you know. And then when you're acting and somebody's doing that job, you're like, oh, I know why they're snapping at me. That's a crappy job. Or, oh, I know what they need me. They need me to be over here. Like, you know, you just understand more. Yeah. It just makes you a better person on set, you know.
Christine and I were just talking about that. I felt like I had wasted a bunch of money on these new grips for fencing. I'm a fencer, by the way.
We talked about that on the one without the camera. We'll talk about it again.
Yeah, we'll circle back. But I felt like I wasted my money because I tried this grip and it really worked for me this one night, and I got really excited. I was like, I'm gonna buy this grip for all of my weapons, and so I bought 2 more of them, and I spent a good chunk of money. And then I fenced with them, and they were terrible. And I realized, like, oh, I was just having a good night that night. But then I realized, like, oh, that was just the cost of learning that. Now I know what I prefer, and I can move forward with that information.
Exactly. So since we're there, let's just talk about this fencing thing.
Oh, yeah.
So if you watch my vlogs, you know I'm always saying do stuff. Do stuff. Like, live your life. Don't just sit at home and pout that you don't have an audition. Like, do stuff, live, you know, get out there and do stuff. So when you were a kid, you were like a big shot fencer, like, yeah, like Zorro, right?
Right, exactly. I would leave a PRB on all of my opponents.
That's awesome.
Yeah. But actually, that's funny because I'm now realizing that there's a great parallel there, because I sort of fell into fencing the same way I fell into video production. I was actually I had been a ballet dancer. I started with ballet when I was about 7, and 5 years into it, the fencing club that I started with, they started renting space in my ballet studio, and
there you were.
Yeah. I beaked my head in. My parents were like, "Doesn't that look cool?" And I was like, "Yeah." They were like, "Great, because we signed you up for lessons."
That's awesome.
Yeah, and so it was sort of another one of those, like, I was just trying it out, but then I realized, like, oh, this is really cool, and it kind of played on all of my passions, and yeah, it's one of the best things that happened to me.
So you were like a national gold medal winner. Like, you weren't just like that kid that like went and did this on Saturday. You were like a big shot. Yeah. Then you kind of laid it down for a while.
Yeah.
And then you've picked it back up and you're doing competitions now again.
Yeah.
So I feel like, we were talking about this earlier. You're like me. I like competitive stuff. Like, just tell me I can't do something. Like, if you really want me to do something, say, yeah, I don't think you could do this, and I'll be like, I'll show you. But, you know, that's a good trait to have, especially when you're creative, because there are times that you are presented with a problem, like, how am I going to get this shot? Like, how am I going to make this work in this area, and how am I going to make, and it's almost, for me, I like challenge myself. I'm like, yeah, you're not that good. You're probably not going to be able to do this. And I'm like, oh, yeah, I am. You know? So do you kind of feel like the competitive attitude,
oh, absolutely,
you know, with your work, kind of?
Yeah. I think I think it's really good to, like you said, to be able to play both parts, to be your own devil's advocate, and to challenge yourself, and to have one side of you saying, like, I'm not sure if I can do this, but I'm gonna try, and I'm gonna do the best I can, and I'm gonna either prove that I can't or prove that I can.
Right.
And that's a driving force in so many creative works, I think.
And even though I'm a competitive person, I'm not competitive with other photographers. I feel like I'm more competitive with myself and my work because I know that what I do is different than what somebody else does. And I also know that not everybody's gonna like my personality and not gonna want to work with me. And if they're not gonna work with me, I'm probably not gonna want to work with them.
Right.
Have you ever had like clients that you that hired you and you're like,
Yeah. Yeah, I've had a couple. Had a couple of rough ones that you suck it up and you
do your job?
Yeah, you do your job. You challenge yourself to find something that you like about them, to find something that makes the relationship tolerable.
Yeah.
And luckily it's just a business relationship, so it doesn't have to extend past the work that you do together.
Right.
And that's sort of how you handle it.
Yeah.
And then maybe you'll learn something. Maybe you'll learn something in the end if you really set your emotions and your prejudgments aside and just allow yourself to try to find the good in everyone.
I call it the ugly baby. So I've been a professional photographer for 30 years. And I used to do babies, families, events, weddings, all that. And I'm not one to lie to anybody. I'm not going to say your baby's cute when it's ugly. And there's a lot of ugly babies out there. And so what I would do, as soon as I would see this ugly baby, I would like, okay, what about this? Like, and I've literally I'm like, oh my God, this baby has the cutest ears. Like I've never seen. Like, and that's how, that'll be the,
I love it.
Because, or, oh my God, that's the cutest little outfit. It's like, I got nothing. Even their toes are mangled. Like, I got nothing, but that's a cute outfit. Like, and,
look at his little runny
oh,
nose.
look at that. Yeah, look at that little, what is that? Is that his nose? No. But, you kind of have to have that attitude that you're always looking for the positive. Absolutely. Instead of always looking at the negative. Yeah. Because the negative sometimes presents itself really loud and out there, but that doesn't mean that the situation's all negative. And so you have to look for the cute ear or the cute toes or whatever it is. You got to find that. Yeah. And so that's kind of how I approach that as my ugly baby. I think, okay, let's find something good about this and let's get through this. But also, my business is based on referrals. And, I get a lot of clients off this vlog. Referrals, people trust, hey, I worked with her, you would love her. This vlog helps because they get a sense of who I am. They get a sense of my personality. And if they're 2 minutes into this vlog and they're like, oh my God, this lady, they're not going to want to spend an hour or two in the studio with me. So they shouldn't call me. They should go call another photographer, Yeah. And that's kind of how I look at, because it's not just torturing them. It's also torturing me, because if they don't like me, they're not going to listen to me and they're not going to give me anything that I can work with. And it's going to be, Yeah. So it's, it's a win-win. But there's always those people that, that pop in and, and then they get here and they're like, oh, I didn't know she talked that much. It's weird.
Yeah, that's how I'm feeling right now.
Yeah, I know. People say that a lot about me.
Oh, really?
Yeah, I get that a lot. It's weird. And I haven't even had coffee.
I know.
All right.
No.
So,
no, you're great.
So, but yeah, I'm trying to remember because we talked about something that I did want to not forget. Did you?
Oh yeah. Well, I wanted to talk about what strategies do we implement, or what do we do when we, as freelancers, when we don't have work? Because it's not just photographers and videographers, but actors are also freelancers, and these strategies all kind of translate across all boards.
They do.
And yeah. So what's your strategy of choice?
My strategy of choice is working.
Yeah.
So I say that, and I don't mean to be sarcastic, but, if I don't have work, really what I do when I have a dead time and I'm looking at the calendar, I'm like, why don't I have any, I don't have anybody booked. The first thing I do is I pout and, I go through this, am I terrible? I look through my own, and then I realize, okay, stop, this isn't productive. Not productive at all. And then I'm like, okay, let's go shoot. And I call up somebody and say, hey, come over, let's shoot. Or if somebody offers me just a ridiculous thing that I would never accept, I'm like, yep. It's like, okay, it's yes time. It's yes. It doesn't matter what it pays or if it pays. It doesn't matter, if it's something I want to do or don't want to do. It's yes time. Because when you get in that momentum of work, then the actual jobs that you want can find you, because you're out there, you're moving and you're in that vibration of work.
Absolutely.
How about you? What's your
I love that you use the word momentum, because that's the word I use a lot when I talk about what we do, and freelancing in general, is that it's so momentum based, and it's all about getting the ball rolling, and then once it's rolling, there's so many different avenues it could go down. I agree that creating your own work and doing either nurturing new relationships by reaching out to potential clients or other friends who need some work done, or doing work for yourself that's in line with what you want to be doing. The work that makes you passionate, because when you're doing that, not only are you building new skills or sharpening old skills, you're allowing yourself extra room to explore and experiment, but you're also increasing your brand awareness, and you're niching down what it is that makes you unique, and what kind of work you do the work that you love, and the work that you love will find you.
Exactly.
Yeah.
I tell my viewers that they should be in front of the camera all the time, even if it's setting their cell phone up on the bookshelf. They should get in front of the camera every day and do a monologue, do a scene, whatever it takes, and then watch themselves, because you should know how you look in front of the camera. And I do the same thing. I take pictures of things. I'm hey, let's try this different lighting, or let's try this different. So I know you. You've been in a momentum of you're just knocking it out. I see you posting all these things and all this work you're doing, and I've known you for a few years now, and you, like everyone else, you have those times where you're super busy and where you're not, but once it kind of gets rolling, it just kind of it goes, it's a gush, and you're doing I said you were a filmmaker and you were all these things, but you do a lot of industrials, you do a lot of commercials, you do food stuff. I mean, I eat raw plant-based, but I look at your stuff and I'm like, wow. I mean, and that's really fun to watch, the plate rotate and all this stuff happen. I'm like, this is so cool. What is this? And so you're making some really fun things and doing some great stuff.
Yeah, thank you. And that's another point is that, thank you. But also, and it's great that that's the image that you see from me, but in reality, some of those jobs that I'm posting on social media, some of them aren't paying. Some of those are ones that I made up for myself.
Yeah.
And even the ones that are paying me, you don't really know how much they're paying me, or what they initially contracted me to do, whether the thing that I posted was actually the thing that my client posted on their social media, and that's it's not to say that I'm being dishonest, but there's a lot of value to sort of landscaping your social media and putting out the image of when people look at my social media, or when people see me working on set, they see a working videographer, a working photographer, and that's the important part. Is you want to be the person that people think of when they inevitably have a job that needs to be done that you can do, or when they know somebody who needs a job that you can do. You want to be the first person that comes to their mind. And
when they see you, you're there in front, and it's human nature. You want something that's, that somebody else has, it's human nature. If you see somebody working, you naturally think, oh, well, somebody else hired him, so maybe I should hire him.
Yeah.
It's a subconscious thing that you like, oh, you gotta, I need to get in there. I need to, and so it's good. And as an actor, you can get friends, and do a little scene and, post that. Nobody knows if it's for an independent. Nobody knows if you did it in your living room. Nobody knows.
Yeah.
But, it gives that. Plus, you're learning, you're having fun. When I'm behind the camera, I'm the happiest that I
can
just,
tell.
yeah, we worked a job before. It was, and so you've actually seen me, work an event. But I just did San Diego Film Awards last month, and I was on my feet shooting nonstop for 6 hours, and it was like I did like 1,000 images in 6 hours, and that's talking to people, getting them there, moving them on. And of course, at the end of the night, I was exhausted, but I like glowed from that for days, because, and Merrick laughs because he knows, like, when I'm, what other people would be like, oh my God, I'm so tired. I'm like, yeah, did you see that? And you should have seen this. And, it's what I love. And, and then when you get in that energy of that positive glow, people want to be around you and people want to hire you. And I know I've seen you work too. You're just like that. You're like, let's do this,
Absolutely. Yeah, I think that speaks to how important it is to really focus on what makes you passionate.
Yeah.
Because it's, not to say don't ever take a job for a paycheck, because that's life. Sometimes
you got to pay bills.
But it's equally, if not more important, if not mountainously more important, to focus your energy on what makes you passionate, because people are perceptive and they can feel it when you're passionate about what you're doing, and also it's pervasive, it's contagious, and it gets other people excited, and they see you in your element doing what you're great at. They say, I want that in my life, and sometimes they mean it literally. I want you to work my next set,
right?
And that's something that's really important. And
it is. And I think that if you love acting, if that's your passion, then do it.
Absolutely.
I mean, Merrick and I have started this thing that we do every single day. We do a self-tape. It does two things. It helps me with, video, it helps me doing self-tapes, because, people come in and do self-tapes. And when I do one here and one there, I'm a little, clunky at it. But when you do it every day, it's an oiled machine. It's smooth.
Absolutely.
But it keeps, Merrick, whether he has an audition or not, every day he's auditioning, because as an actor, that's your job. You audition. Like, that is your only job, is to audition. What happens after that is just, icing on the cake.
Right.
And I think that the more people, if they love it, do it. Like, get out there and just, do it and have fun. And, I'm always saying, do what you love. Love it. Because that's going to change the whole feel of everything.
Absolutely. And conversely, people are perceptive. Conversely, that they can, if you don't love what you're doing, they can also sense that.
Yeah.
Or if you're desperate to do something because you need a paycheck, they can sense that, and that's really, sadly, that's kind of off-putting, and because it sort of says, like, oh well, if you're so desperate, then why won't anybody hire you?
Yeah.
What am I missing here?
There's got to be something. If they're not working, like somebody, something.
But also that if you don't love what you're doing, and people can tell, then they're not going to want to be in that world with you.
Right, and I don't want to be in my own world when I'm like, you know what I mean? When you get in that funk, you're like, I don't want to be here either. Like, I know nobody wants to be around me, so I know. And so you need to find I know she doesn't want to come on camera. She's too beautiful. But
cameras would explode.
But she was saying how she's has this amazing job that, you've been there 3 years?
2 years.
2 years. And the first year it was like, but then all of a sudden she's like, I've grown into it and I love it. And I think that, it's finding that ugly baby. Like, what
Absolutely.
can I do? What can I do, in this situation that makes it, and if you're an actor and you're not at the point where you are living on acting and you have a side job or a day job, make that day job. Like, look at the people that you do studies. Like, look at your coworkers and be like, okay, so if ever I have a scene, I'm gonna do that. Just make it a game with you to to be a reason to be, you know, doing what you do.
Absolutely. And to build on that, I think something, a really overlooked resource for education and sort of exploring different avenues is go on YouTube and look at videos, and you know you'll be surprised of how much free information there is out there. How many, you know, even if you think that you know everything, you still don't have the perception of the entire rest of the world.
Right.
And you can broaden your mind so much from these free resources they're all already online. And
I watch YouTube videos all the time about lighting, about setting, and some of it I don't like. Some of it I'm like, nope.
Yeah.
But now I know, like, oh, I won't bother to try that.
Right.
You know, but a lot of it I'm like, oh, that's a cool. I didn't think of that. You know,
Yeah.
because we get into this rut where we do things the way we do things, and we forget to grow.
Mm-hmm.
And so,
Yeah.
like,
Yeah,
even
there's a
with
lot
your
of
fencing, like, you know, it gets
Yes.
you, you know, yes, you're passionate about the camera, but when you get out and you're just around other people and you're, you know, kicking ass with your sword and doing all this stuff, and
That was
you know, that's,
pretty,
is that pretty good?
accurate,
Is that pretty accurate?
Yeah, that's pretty much what everyone
Yeah,
does.
yeah. I know nothing about fencing, but you didn't know that I pulled it off really good, right?
No, yeah, I couldn't.
Yeah.
I was
Couldn't
scared for a
tell?
minute.
Yeah. All right. So, but you, the other thing though with you, I mean, you could choreograph fight scenes like this because that's something you've done, you know, your whole life.
Sure. Yeah.
So that's something like when that opportunity comes up, you're like, oh, I can show you how to do this and not get killed.
Yeah.
You know, and
yeah,
that's
there's-
something you can use. Your passions always cross over.
Absolutely, yeah. There's just a never-ending fountain of parallels that you could draw that I could draw between fencing and the rest of my life,
Yeah.
be it my career or be it my relationships. But it's not just fencing. I mean, yes, fencing. Go out and fence. It's
I
an
probably
amazing
shouldn't.
sport.
I
No,
probably
no, you
shouldn't.
could.
You think I could?
Yeah,
I
absolutely.
think I could.
I
I don't
think-
think he realizes how uncoordinated I am.
No, it's about it's about knowing yourself and knowing your strengths and being able to perceive your opponent's weaknesses and use them against them.
Yeah.
You know, and I think that's something you're great at is picking up on other people's personalities and what their weak points are, or what
That's
their
true.
you know find their ugly baby.
Exactly, that's true.
Yeah.
I am. You know, I always laugh. You know, 5 minutes into a session, I can tell you what you're like. Oh, you don't like this eyebrow, or you don't like this. Like I just by the way you hold your body, I can tell what you're. You know, and a lot of times I tell my clients, like, you know what, that's what you want to show off because that's what makes you unique.
Absolutely,
You know.
yeah.
But that's a good point. I don't think I'm going to fence though. I think I might get killed. I get hurt really bad.
Yeah, but even if it's not fencing, you know,
Yeah, I know, yeah.
any sort of other sort of hobby that you're passionate about outside of your career, there's so much to be learned. Just go on any other journey.
Exactly. And as an actor, that's your special skills. Like that's always
Absolutely.
something to add to your resume.
Yep. Yeah, you got to live life to put on a show of life. That wasn't the most graceful way to say that, but
No, but I get what you were saying. You
Yeah.
have to have something to, you know, to present something. You have
Yeah.
to have lived.
yeah,
If you just sit at home and, you know, go to work or do this and that, then, you know, how do you know when the scene calls for this kind of emotion? How do you know what that feels like? Because you've never won it. You've never lost a championship game. You've never gotten hurt. You've
Yeah.
never fallen down. You've never, you know, so you have to go out and experience the good and the bad.
absolutely.
So what, I know you know, originally were going to be an actor and you still do acting. I mean, it's not like you've thrown it away.
Right.
You still do it and you're still an amazing actor. But what, and it's funny when you say like, you wrote the stuff so you could write yourself into it. And that's the best way. Like, hey, if you're not working, go create something that you can lead in.
Absolutely.
But what do you think, like looking back now, you're such a long life you've lived. It's very young. Anyway, but looking back over, you know, this journey, like what are the things that like pop out in your head that's like, man, I would have never thought, you know? Putting you on the spot.
Yeah, I know. I love it. Like I never would have thought that I would have done this, or
But what I meant was like the 22-year-old you thought you were going to be this famous movie star.
Okay, yeah.
And that's what you thought you were going to get your fulfillment out of.
Okay, yeah. So I didn't, growing up wanting to be an actor, I never thought that I would find a passion in making other actors look great. You know, for a long time I saw other actors as my competition, and it was a very sort of one-sided way to look at life. But now it brings me such joy to show a client a video or show somebody a film that they're in and have them say like, "This is my dream come true. You brought my dream to life."
Yeah.
And that's so satisfying, and the vicarious pleasure is so it's very strong.
Yeah.
So,
Because really that's your job, is to make the actor look great, the finished product. And that's all the crew's job, like everybody. The writer, like everybody's job is to make the final product look amazing. And I think actors need to realize that everybody, whether you like them or not, everybody's trying to make you look good. So make it easy on them to make you look good. Be nice. But that's cool. Like, you helping others has put you into this amazing career and this amazing journey that you didn't even dream of.
Absolutely. And ironically, like now I feel like I could write any part that I want for myself.
Exactly.
And I could produce it myself.
And make it awesome, because it's not just like college stuff. Like your college stuff was good, but now it's like, wow.
Yeah. And, you know,
Patrick Russell Burton quality.
Exactly. And, you know, it's funny that it's ironic that going down this seemingly opposite path has sort of put me in this position where like other filmmakers will cast me in their film just for the novelty of having another filmmaker
In the film.
in their film, you know, and that's a really cool thing to me.
Yeah.
I almost like that better, you know. And,
Yeah.
So all that to sort of say like, don't be afraid to fall in love with other passions.
Right.
It's not like a relationship. It's not monogamous when you're talking about art.
There you go.
Yeah.
We're not art monogamous.
Yes. Monarchtimous.
Monarchtimous. That's a new word. So I often say words wrong, like not just like that, but I often, and I always get mad at people. I'm like, vocabulary is to communicate. You totally knew what I meant. Like, who cares if I said it wrong? I communicated to you.
Yeah.
You know what that word means. So now we just made a new word.
Yeah, I like it.
I mean, that's how words get made. I mean, somebody had to say it first.
I like it. And I'm stealing Ugly Baby, by the way.
Okay.
As long as we're talking about words. That's going to be my new
Well,
thing.
give me credit at least once, and then it can be yours.
Yeah, we'll see.
That's what I always tell people when I steal their stuff. I'm like, I'll give you credit once, and then it's mine.
We can have a headshot off.
There you go.
For the rights to the phrase.
To the right. Yeah.
No, you would destroy me. Because of what I talked about. Actually, I really admire your ability to connect with people and to bring out their best side. Not only literally, but also to bring out the best in their personality when you're photographing them. That's a real skill that I'm still working on developing for myself.
Well, I photographer for so many years, doing families and groups and being able to control a whole group and get attention of a whole group. And I used to think that headshots were beneath me. I was like, nah, I don't want to do headshots. Like I do real work. And then I realized that talent headshots, it's amazing real work, because it is literally the macro expression. It's just, you've really got to bring their personality out to have an effective headshot. You've got, and so once I realized that, I was like, I can do this, and it's so fun to, like you said, when somebody looks at the final thing, they're like, oh wow, I've never been happy with it. I didn't know I could do that. It's like, yeah, that's you. That's you. That's you. That's the real you. Not the nervous, I'm in front of a camera. That's the real you. that people actually see, and that's what you do is, you know, in your commercials. And every time I watch something, it's like it just says Patrick all over it. It's like, this is awesome. Like, it always makes me smile. Like, I love your work. I think you're amazingly talented.
Thanks, Peggy.
So actors, you know, you should follow him on social media, because you never know when he's going to be casting for something. So you should kind of like, you know, hey, it's a cool guy to know.
That's true.
And if you have a project and you want to pay him,
Give me that money.
you can also hire him.
Yeah.
I know sometimes they're like, yeah, somebody will work with you. I'm like, for like, this is our career. Like, work means, you know.
Yeah.
But you never know, you know. You never know. So that's cool. So what final words do you want to tell these viewers?
I think closing words on this discussion would be create your own work, and don't be afraid to find a new passion.
Yeah. It doesn't mean you're letting go.
Yeah, it doesn't mean that you have to let go of your old passion. In fact, it could even help you grow the old passions that you already have.
Yeah. So, yeah, I knew it was going to be great having you on here.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
This has been fun.
This has been fun. So, that said, I'm going to have all of your social media stuff down below in the links. Is there anything else you want people to tell you? Like, what's your favorite social media? What should they for sure follow you on?
Oh, Instagram.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's.
I feel that's literally the only social media that people need to have.
Yeah.
I mean, Twitter's there.
Yeah.
What's that? It's people that like to write. Like, I think we're more visual.
Yeah.
Maybe that's it.
Yeah, follow me on TikTok. I'm kidding. It's like for little kids.
Yeah.
No.
Is there really a social media for little kids?
Yeah, it's weird. My sister was showing me some of this stuff. It's like the new generation, whatever they're called now, Gen Z. Is that what they are? That they it's actually pretty impressive how video centric everybody is now. But like it's kind of like what Vine used to be.
Oh yeah.
But it's like if.
Oh
Vine,
look, you're older than I thought you were.
All right. My age is showing. I don't know where I'm going with this. But
no, I totally
I don't mean
interrupted
to plug
you.
TikTok.
No, it was a joke.
Yeah, it was a joke.
So anyway, social media, like Facebook, Instagram, Twitter.
Yeah, Instagram is good.
Do you have a YouTube channel? Yeah,
I do. Yeah, I made a video for YouTube.
For YouTube?
Yeah, and I put like my little life documentaries on there too. So.
Yeah, I have a YouTube channel. People don't know that because they watch me on Facebook, and so all my videos on YouTube have like 4 views or something. But I feel like most of my viewers are on Facebook right now, so they are on YouTube, and you can subscribe. It'd be really awesome if I had more than like 300 subscribers. Just throwing that out there. Just saying. But yeah, it's out there. But make sure you follow me on Instagram, and I'm also on the other things too. You're everywhere, so follow those things. So I hope you guys liked this. This is fun, and I hope it kind of encouraged you and let you know that don't feel like a failure if you're not working. All of us have those moments that we're not working, and what we do is we go work.
Yep.
I mean, you get paid sometimes and sometimes you don't, but you're always growing and sharpening those skills, so it's always good to work. Work's always moving forward and momentum.
Yeah. If other people won't give you work, then give yourself work.
Make your own projects and go sell it to some, I mean, people are literally making huge projects and selling them to Amazon and Hulu and Netflix, and I'm like, people I know are like doing this. I'm like, that is awesome. Oh, you couldn't get cast, so you just did it yourself.
Yeah.
And you made money.
Yep.
That's cool.
Yeah.
All right, guys. Well, I will stop going on and on just because Kristen is like, geez, guys, close it up. So I hope you enjoyed this, and most importantly, have an amazing week. I'll see you next week.
Me too. No, uh-oh.